We'll tell you more about this statue later. Today we're walking in the footsteps of a legend. This legend, he's had songs written about him and sung about him, books written about him, TV programmes made about him, and films made about him. Who is he? You might have heard of him. It's Robin Hood. But we'll tell you more about this statue later.
So we just come out through the village and along the road. Then we're on to a field side track, so we just head up over here. Don't think we'll let the dogs off just yet. We're just along the side of the River Mourne, which looks a very nice clean river, to be honest, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very clear. It's
quite deep here. I mean, nice.
About.
Runs trying to get in. We've got the river just running down the side of us. We've got a crop of what looks like winter wheat, perhaps, on the right of us. It's not as easy walking down here with the dogs, is it?
Not on leads, no.
They just want to get off for a run, but the one wants to get in the water. The others want to just run, but we can't really let them off while the field's got the crop in, so they'll just have to wait.
So the village that we've just left is Edwin Stowe, which titles itself the Robin Hood Village because of the links to him. If he existed, that is.
Right, this way.
Some people believe he did, some he didn't. The first mention of him in folk songs was back in the 13th century.
Was it?
Yep. A hero to some and an outlaw to others. We're just going to head into Sherwood Forest on this walk for a look around. We'll get to see the major oak.
This route actually takes us to the old centre of the forest, so which isn't the major oak, but it's further away. But we'll get to there. It'll give us some idea of how big the forest was.
and it's a heck of a lot smaller than it was. So this first area that we've been walking in is known as the Duke of Portland's Flood Meadows. We're about to turn right, aren't we, and head up into the forest.
A nice little babbling river though.
Someone would love a paddle.
Yeah.
But not today.
Come on. No. Run.
You never know who you're going to meet.
No.
Hello? Hello? Wow, look at that house.
This is the Archway House, and it's a replica of the archway at Worksop Abbey. Although one difference, the statues, rather than being saints, are actually the outlaws of the Robin Hood fable.
Are they?
Tale, yeah.
I could live there.
We couldn't afford to live there. What are you laughing at?
Because we only have to switch a camera on, and one of them, well, one of the boys, cocks their leg. It's like they hear the camera noise, and it's like Pavlov's dogs. Oh, we must have a wee now. And word with our dogs, which means they can go and play, and that is ready.
Used to be ready, go.
They did, but they don't need
They
that
jumped
anymore.
the gun now.
Ready. There'd be no gun on the starting line. Ready. The countrified way of filling in a pothole.
It's been all along there.
That's the only problem with this walk for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
To cross a couple of roads.
Well, we've been on road to start with, weren't we?
Yeah.
And they wanted to get off the lead as soon as they can. We went through fields where we had the crops.
Yeah.
So they've been on and off the leads.
More than they used to, really, on a walk.
Yeah.
But they're being good.
Yeah.
Well, actually, entering the forest itself.
Just crossed the road. Just heading up into the forest. Well paved path along here because it's one of the national cycle routes, so it wouldn't be bad cycling this bit.
No, it wouldn't. Fairly flattish for us who haven't done it for a long time.
long time.
What did you just say to me?
So we just come up a gentle slope. Oh, it's quite warm in the sun. We're coming to the centre tree, and this oak here is the centre tree, and this is the heart of the original Sherwood Forest.
Who says so?
It's on the map.
That means it's true.
It is.
Unless this signpost says it here as well.
It's got to be true. It's on a map.
Yeah, I don't understand maps. Yeah, it's quite a nice oak, isn't it?
It is. Just imagine this bough that's been chopped off.
Yeah. Mm. So you know how we said before about we're entering the forest? We are now. Now it looks like a forest.
Yeah. This is the Berklands area, did it say? Something like that. Which is the old part of the forest. And we've got lots of old oak and silver birch, which they reckon won't have changed in hundreds of years. So this is the older part, less managed, I suppose.
More like a forest.
Yeah.
So it's thought that William the Conqueror designated this as a royal forest for hunting. This is a nice old avenue, isn't it?
It is. These dead trees are all around us, all the old oak that have died and virtually petrified, rotted away.
That's a good game, isn't it? There are over 900 veteran oak trees in this forest to this day. Some of them hundreds of years old. There's some weird and wonderful shapes on these old trees. You imagine the people they've seen in the past and the stories they could tell, what goings on they've seen. So you can imagine Robin Hood then.
Yes.
Hiding out in here. Certainly plenty of space to hide out in.
I think this is probably more authentic how he would have seen it, rather than the managed pine plantations that we sort of associate with forests these days.
Yeah, we were just saying, weren't we? You imagine, you think of forests and you think tall, dark pine trees.
Yeah.
These days.
I think original forests were spread out a little bit more like this, and with the sort of grassy glades around as well.
And it's so quiet with no planes flying either, and just the bird song. You can again imagine that's what it was like.
Yes.
Back in the olden days. He left you behind, Rum. So we've been walking about 4 miles now. And for the last couple, we've not seen a soul, have we?
No. Come out from the forest into the heathland now. It's very sandy. The heather on either side. I imagine it's lovely when it's in flower later on in the year. But, this is at some stage goes into a training ground for the military, so we'll have to keep our heads down.
Well, you heard of Wonky Donkey?
Where are we?
Woodby Heath. Nice place to sit and admire the view, but we've not brought a flask. Fail.
This is a rum camp. So it looks like we've come off the heath and are heading back into the forest.
Well, somehow I don't think we're going to get a coffee today. Go on, babe.
Hey!
Cheat. This way. No. During the 18th and 19th century, a great number of trees were chopped down for shipbuilding from the forest. We're not too far off the famous major oak now, but to be honest, it's not as thrilling.
It's a bit disappointing, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's been shored up. It's fenced off, obviously, because they don't want people climbing on it because it's so old.
Well, what was the problem is that we had so many visitors around the base. It was compacting the soil, so the roots were being starved of oxygen.
Yeah.
And so the oak was starting to die. So they've banned people from going too close to it. They've had to shore up or prop up some of the boughs, which, to be fair, the Victorians had to do as well. So that's nothing new, but they're just trying to look after it, I think, really.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it's just that you paint this picture, don't you, of the famous major oak where Robin Hood and his men are supposed to have sheltered and used as a bit of a hideout, but it's not like that now, is it? But we'll tell you a little bit more about it when we get there. So just around this bend, we've got the major oak. And there it is.
I remember coming here as a child and you could walk up to it and go in around the other side. The trunk's hollow, and you can get into, or you used to be able to get into it. So again, if few years ago, but all the boughs are there propping up. All the supports are propping up the boughs now.
Which, I mean, when you think of the weight in those,
Yeah,
you can see why. Yeah. They would have gone long before now, wouldn't they?
they would, and you know, especially with compacting the soil around its roots, they've aerated it as well, so you just get it back into some rudimentary health. They have actually taken cuttings of the major oak and sent that around the world.
What they've actually done is clone them.
Clone them, yeah.
And then sent them to major cities around the world, so the tree can carry on ad infinitum. It is a big old tree though. Estimates say, they've never actually aged it properly, but estimates say it's between 800 and 1,000 years old. And there's an information board that says the major oak was a perfect place for outlaws to meet, pass messages and store supplies. And it's saying the tree's hollow because of fungi growing inside it, and it causes the old heartwood to decay. It was also used for hiding deer, because you're only allowed to hunt if you had permission from the king. So if you were poaching, you had to hide the deer, and the hollow trunk was a perfect place for it.
This way. Yep. Oh, come on. Come on, you lot. This way, now.
So I was always under the impression that the tree was called the major oak because it was the biggest tree in the forest, but that's not true. It was actually named after Major Rook, who was a bloke who actually said it was the tree that Robin Hood would have hidden out in. So it's called the major oak after him. Much more simple. So that was a major oak. During World War II, the forest housed one of the largest ammunition dumps in the UK. Let's hope we don't find a stray piece and tread on it.
I suppose it was one of the most central places in Britain.
Yeah. More weird and wonderful natural sculptures from the trees. You spent long enough looking at one, I'm sure you'd see some faces.
Come on. Right.
Hey, good girl.
So we've really come out of the forest now, and we just crossed away from the where we parked the car in the car park, well, front of the car park. We're just dropping down to Edwin Stowe cricket ground. So we better put the dogs on the lead. I don't suppose they'll be playing cricket today.
Not unless it's singles. Oh, you're not allowed to play doubles. So is that cricket?
No.
So I've got a little bit of information to tell you about the cricket field as well when we get there. Oh, we're here. Just on the edge, around here. So just the other side of the cricket field. Again, during World War II, there was a large prisoner of war camp. So that was housed here. Not exactly sure. Somewhere it said in front of the cricket field, so I'm presuming it was this side.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the dogs back to the car, get them in there, and then we're going to have a look around the churchyard and tell you about that statue that we saw at the beginning of the video. And hopefully get a takeaway coffee somewhere.
It's a nice cricket pitch, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
So we put the dogs in the van, like we said, and we're just heading back. We've seen a statue over there, obviously related to Robin Hood, so we'll go and have a look at that and then head off into Edwin Stowe itself.
Can I ask you something?
You can try.
When is a statue and not a sculpture?
No idea.
Just wondered whether that's a statue or a sculpture.
I suppose it's a sculpture then, isn't it? Is a sculpture one person?
I don't know. Or is a sculpture if it's wooden?
No idea. Somebody will tell us.
Hope so. It's the burning question of the day.
And it is the statue or sculpture of Robin Hood, and it depicts him when he met Little John, and they had a little fight with the staffs over who would give way over the bridge.
And this is the new visitor centre, which obviously isn't open at the moment, so we ain't getting coffee there. So we're just heading back into the village now. We'll go into the churchyard. So the reason we've come to this churchyard, the end of the walk, is because this is where Robin and Maid Marian allegedly got married.
This church was started in the 1100s.
Yeah.
And replaced one that had been here from the 600s.
Something like that, yes. And the statue at the beginning that we saw was Robin Hood proposing to Maid Marian. So we started with a proposal and ended with a marriage. Well, apart from that takeaway coffee, hopefully.
So where are we?
Found somewhere for a takeaway coffee.
We hope.
We hope. It says freshly ground coffee. Does that mean to drink? Ooh. Mm. Well, just waiting for Keith to come out with the coffee. Just noticed this sign. Edwin Stowe Historical Society. Christopher Thompson, 1799 to 1871. Sailor, comedian, social reformer, artist, author, and advocate for the local Oddfellows. He contributed much to the supporting of the community of Edwin Stowe, setting up a penny library, night classes and lectures, as well as self-help groups from 1838 to 1849. This building is formerly the old library, built in 1913, and this followed in a similar tradition. A little bit of history we didn't know about, or didn't expect to find.
Coffee time.
Thank you. Cheers. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.